What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, the stimulus package update, daily news, pretty much everything going on in the country here on a daily basis. Money, investing, the stock market. Remember, the new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're new to the channel, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so. I will keep you up to date with everything going on here in our country and with the next stimulus package. If you remember Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who filed for articles of impeachment on President Biden the first day he came into office. Yeah, that's right. She said she was going to file articles of impeachment on him before he even came into office, and she filed them on the first day he came into office. Well, she's at it again. Check this out.
I have introduced House Res 57. These are articles of impeachment on President Biden for abuse of power in regards to his willingness to use his position of power to aid his son, Hunter Biden, and their business dealings. I've also introduced another article of impeachment on President Biden, which is HRES 597. This has to do with the national security crisis that President Biden has created with regards to the extreme threat at the southern border. I've introduced House Res 598, articles of impeachment on President Biden in regards to the failure in Afghanistan. And I've introduced House Res 596, articles of impeachment on President Biden for the COVID eviction moratorium and his willingness to use his position to try to do what he shouldn't be doing. We have three branches of power.
So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this. Again, Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's been in a lot of heat or trouble herself in the past, filed 3 different articles of impeachment against President Biden. However, because the Democrats are in control of the House and the Senate, it's unlikely that these will go anywhere because it's unlikely that the Democrats are going to vote out their own president. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Do you think what she had to say on the 3 different articles of impeachment that she's filing, do you think they have any merit? Do you think that this is just her trying to stir up controversy? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Next up, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, leader of the Democrats in the House, says the Democrats are within striking distance of a deal and could have it any time here within moments. But first, let's go to President Biden himself, where he will be talking about 2 key provisions, or 2 key people, and some key provisions on Senator Joe Manchin and Senator Kyrsten Sinema, the 2 main holdouts, and really probably the 2 main factors on whether or not they will get a deal and what will be in the stimulus package. Senator Joe Manchin and Senator Kyrsten Sinema are the 2 wild cards to whether they'll even get a deal done or not. Senator Joe Manchin said, what was that? Was that yesterday? That he said to Senator Bernie Sanders' face that he could do 0, and literally pointed like that he could literally vote no on the package when Senator Bernie Sanders says, Joe Manchin, that is, we need $3.5 trillion. Joe Manchin responded with, I could vote 0 and vote no on the package, when just the day before he said we could have a deal done. Joe Manchin said that is. So it's really hard to figure out where Joe Manchin is and Kyrsten Sinema. Well, here's what President Biden has to say directly on Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. Check this out.
We've talked a lot about Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema. You seem relatively confident you can kind of get Senator Manchin on board. There's a lot of Democrats in the House and Senate who are confused about where Senator Sinema actually stands on things. And I know she's been negotiating directly with you and the White House. What is your read on her? And obviously, you need her to remain positive in your direction, so I don't know what you're going to say. But what is your read on her? Do you know where she stands?
First of all, she's smart as the devil, number one. Number two, she's very supportive of the environmental agenda in my legislation. Very supportive. She's supportive of almost all the things I mentioned relating to everything from family care to all those issues. Where she's not supportive is she says she will not raise a single penny in taxes on the corporate side and/or on wealthy people, period. And so that's where it sort of breaks down. There's a few other issues it breaks down on. But what we're trying to do is reach a point here where I'm able to present to the Senate, they're able to vote on, and the House, a serious piece of legislation that changes the dynamic for working class folks in America and middle class folks, and begins to have the very wealthy and corporate members just begin to pay their fair share. Not a lot. How we get there, we're down to 4 or 5 issues, which I'm not going to negotiate on national television, as you might guess.
We'd be interested in hearing them if you want.
No, I know. But all kidding aside, I think we can get there.
You talked about the environmental piece. You said Senator Sinema is on board with that. Certainly, Senator Manchin is not. It gets to our next question. This is from Kobe Kong. He's originally from Anaheim, California. He's a sophomore class president at Johns Hopkins University and Democrat. Kobe, what's your question?
Mr. President.
One of the largest issues that people have trouble comprehending the severity of is climate change. Many legislators and politicians today are lenient as they won't have to live with the future effects. Without the legislative support for the climate aspects of your budget proposal and the Earth rapidly approaching the Paris Agreement's 1.5 degrees limit, what other backup plans do you have to ensure a future for the next generations?
Well, let's... Mr. President, you got it right. The existential threat to humanity is climate change. And when President Trump pulled out of the Paris Accord, which when I was with the Obama administration, we helped negotiate, the agreement was that we could not, if we reached beyond 1.5 degrees Celsius increase in temperature, we're gone. Not a joke, not a joke. And so we decided that he pulled out. First thing I committed to do is rejoin that accord, number one. But number two, what you have to do is you look at there's multiple ways in which we can deal with climate. I'm going off to COP26 in Scotland, in, I don't know, I guess it's 2 weeks or a week. I'm losing track of time. And I'm presenting a commitment to the world that we will, in fact, get to net zero emissions on electric power by 2035 and net zero emissions across the board by 2050 or before. But we have to do so much between now and 2030 to demonstrate what we're going to do. So let me give you a couple examples.
Okay, let me just follow up, though, very quickly on that, because the key climate provision that was in the Build Back Better plan, as you call it, the Clean Electricity Performance Program, that's been dropped now from this spending bill.
No, it hasn't.
It has not.
No, look,
but Senator Manchin is opposed to that.
He's opposed to it. But here's the deal. That is only one of well over $1 trillion worth of expenditures for climate change. It's $150 billion. It's important. And what it says is that if, in fact, the utility doesn't pull back and continue to reduce the amount of carbon that they emit, that what will happen is they will end up paying a penalty. And so there's a penalty incurred. Joe Manchin's argument is, look, we still have coal in my state. You're going to eliminate it eventually. We know it's going away. We know it's going to be gone. But don't rush it so fast that my people don't have anything to do. I think that's not what we should be doing. But the fact of the matter is, we can take that $150 billion, add it to the $320 billion that's in the law now that he's prepared to support for tax incentives to have people act in a way that they're going to be able to do the things that need to be done. For example, if you got windows that are the wind's blowing through, you get an incentive to put new windows in your home. You help get it paid. We are going to significantly reduce the cost of solar panels on your roof. We're going to continually, and for example, there's new battery technologies that are being I went out in Silicon Valley. There's a battery that's about that wide and about that thick. If you have solar power, you put that in your basement, and the sun doesn't shine for 7 days, you still have all the power you need.
But the concession has been agreed to for Senator Manchin about coal in his state. Is that true?
Nothing's been formally agreed to. The concession has been, the negotiation is, I've been saying to Joe, look, I'll take, if we don't do it in terms of the electric grid piece, what we'll do is give me that $150 billion. I'm going to add it to be able to do other things that allow me to do things that don't directly affect the electric grid in the way that there's a penalty, but allow me to spend the money to set new technologies in place. For example, we can save significant amounts of money and, as a consequence of that, significant amounts of energy if, in fact, we are able to put the high-tension wires underground. It costs a hell of a lot more to do it. It creates real good jobs. It creates a hell of a lot more to do it. But, in fact, it would do a lot to keep things from happening that are dangerous. Half the forest fires out west are those towers coming down, setting fire, et cetera. So there's a lot of things. Joe is open to my convincing him that I can use it to increase environmental progress without it being that particular deal.
Yeah, so as you can see here, there's a lot of negotiation going on, even just between Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema. The other big thing between, Joe Manchin wants to protect the coal in his state, but coal is going away, as President Biden says. I don't know if coal is going to go away entirely, but it is going away on its own just because it's just not being used as much. So, and then Kirsten Sinema doesn't want to raise the corporate tax rate or raise taxes on wealthy individuals. Kind of makes you wonder where her priorities are and why those are. But the interesting thing is that the Democratic leaders, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and other leaderships are saying that's might be okay for this stimulus package, because remember, they've all pretty much confirmed, as well as President Biden, that there's going to be another stimulus package after this. The main game plan right now is basically, let's agree to what they can agree to for this stimulus package, which is probably going to be somewhere between $1.5 trillion and $2 trillion. Pass this package on everything that they can agree to now, because it's just kind of taken a while. Get everything done that they can agree to now, okay? Pass the physical infrastructure package after. That's the roads, bridges, airports, clean drinking water, internet. That's 1.2 trillion. So even if this bill ends up being, say, 1.5 trillion, and then the 1.2 trillion, that's still $2.7 trillion between the two of them. They're both fully paid for, or almost fully paid for, depending on how the Congressional Budget Office scores it at the end of the day. The physical infrastructure package is bipartisan. Remember, even Mitch McConnell voted for that. That's already passed the Senate. It's just waiting to be voted on in the House. Basically, as soon as they pass the stimulus package, that's going to pass the House as soon as they allow it to get voted on. So then they're going to pass these two packages, and then they're going to come back around on kind of on the back end afterwards and put together another package for maybe another 1.5 to $2 trillion afterwards. Because basically, it's just, if you think about just what they just talked about, what President Biden just talked about there in just those few minutes, that's a lot right there. And just getting Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema to agree on these couple things, as well as the Medicare provisions, hearing, dental, vision, the child tax credit payments, those monthly payments, $250 to $300 per month, that were passed from the third stimulus check package, that are going to end on December 15th if they don't pass this package, as well as raising the debt limit ceiling. We really haven't heard a peep out of the Democrats on if they're going to do that in this package, which is kind of strange because if they pass this package, it's kind of strange that they haven't said anything about this. They really need to put a debt limit extension in there in this package for a year or two or eliminate it even, which they have considered doing that as well. Because remember that Republican leader from the Senate, Mitch McConnell, said they're not going to help them for the next vote if the Democrats don't pass the stimulus package and increase it on their own. So the Democrats need to pass the stimulus package and increase the debt limit on their own through the reconciliation process in this stimulus package. And the Democrats haven't said anything about that. So we have to assume that they're going to put that in there, but are they? uh, we'll find out. Hopefully, let's hope that they don't. Because remember, just a few weeks ago, Democrats were saying that they didn't want to do it that way. They shouldn't be forced to do that way. It's not their responsibility to do that way. And the Democrats and Republicans should do it together. And then they did do it together. But then Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer completely blasted the Republicans literally like a minute after it passed the vote. And then all the Republicans said, well, now we're never going to help you ever again with that vote. So now they're not going to help them again. So now the Democrats have to do it. And that temporary extension they passed is only going to last till around December 3rd. It doesn't have a date on it. It has a number of $480 billion. So it's only going to last for another little bit over a month. So meanwhile, Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, says the Democrats are within striking distance of a deal. Check this out. Speaker Nancy Pelosi, leader of the House of Representatives and the Democrats, said Friday that the Democrats are within striking distance of winning a long-sought argument on President Biden's sweeping domestic agenda. Returning to the Capitol from a White House breakfast with the presidents, the speaker said there are a couple outstanding issues to iron out in the healthcare arena, but that the environmental aspects of the bill are now resolved and that she's optimistic that a deal is close. She says, quote, we're in good shape and we're moving along. Quote, we have had a very positive meeting this morning. I'm very optimistic. It's very exciting because whatever it is, it's going to be bigger than anything we've ever done for the American people. Wow, that's a big statement. It's exciting because whatever it is, it's going to be bigger than anything we've ever done for the American people. Now, that's a big statement because remember, the third stimulus check package had those $1,400 stimulus checks in there for adults, $1,400 stimulus checks in there for children, and $1,400 stimulus checks in there for adults and adult dependents or college student dependents, and had the 1-year child tax credit payments, $250 to $300 per month, a total of $3,000 to $3,600 for the year. In addition to the $1,400 stimulus checks for children. There's no mention of checks for adults at this point besides the child tax credits. So, I understand that stimulus checks are just one aspect, or the child tax credits are just one aspect. We have all these other things, climate provisions, Medicare benefits for seniors, hearing, dental, vision, hearing aids, maybe lower the Medicare eligibility age to age 60. All these other things in here. I'll bring up the list here. All the other possibilities here. 2 years of free community college has been cut. So yeah, again, they can always include a forced stimulus check in there for adults if they wanted to. And remember, they could do that for 5% of the package or less here if Joe Manchin would allow it, and Kirsten Sinema here. And we're going to have to see here. Paid family and medical leave is still expected to be in there 4 weeks now of that, which is significantly less than they originally wanted. Just trying to look through here through all this stuff here as things are literally changing here by the hour. Child care tax credits, I believe, are still in there as well. It's kind of hard to weed through all this stuff because they're doing a lot of these negotiations behind closed doors. They're not really telling us a lot of details of what's finalized, what's not. Haven't heard a lot about an adult tax credit here recently as well, earned income tax credit. We'll have to see if that comes out in the final bill. Um, Lower prescription drug prices, haven't heard a lot about that either in the last 24 hours as well. Also, so we'll have to see if that comes out. That's a really big part of this agenda. So we'll have to see there. They're also saying that they might be able to pass this bill without any increases to corporations or to wealthy individuals. So yeah, they could actually pay for this whole package by doing the other creative financing. So that'll be interesting to see if they could do that. They did mention that the $1,000 Medicare, or it originally was 600 to 1,000. I shortened it up here because I know my picture's right here. That they did mention an $800 Medicare voucher for seniors as well, just the other day. So apparently that is still a possibility, could be on the table here. But it is apparently possible that they may save the tax raises on corporations, wealthy corporations making over $1 million per year, and wealthy individuals for the next stimulus package. Because remember, they originally had enough tax raises and creative finances. Remember, this IRS looking into people's bank accounts is going to, basically shore up money by finding out who owes the IRS money. And if they're able to force prescription drug companies to lower their prices, that's going to save the US government hundreds of billions of dollars. So that's going to basically save the US government hundreds of billions of dollars. They're going to use that to pay for the package. So they have all these different creative ways that they're going to pay for the package, as well as leftover stimulus money that they use part of it for the physical infrastructure package. We'll have to see how they dole out all this money. But there was $3.5 trillion that they were going to have that whole paid for. But now that the package is like half the size, they're not going to do all the tax increases because, well, they don't need to do $3.5 trillion worth of tax increases. So they're going to probably save some of that for the next stimulus package or two down the line so that they can pay for those packages. So it does kind of make sense when you figure it out, because if they do it all now, you don't want to do $3.5 trillion worth of tax increases or pay fors to only pay for a $1.7 trillion stimulus package, because what would you do with all the extra money? Give it out to the people in stimulus checks. So, yeah, that's something they could do. But remember, please tweet your senators, your representatives, call them, email them, write them, make your voices heard, because that is how the second stimulus check was added in at the very last moment. Remember, for the second stimulus check, they actually wrote the bill and didn't include a stimulus check. And because people were outraged that they weren't going to include a stimulus check in there, they added it in at the very last moment, just 6 days before they actually passed the bill. So we've been down this road before. They added a second stimulus check in there at the very last moment. Senator Bernie Sanders and Republican Senator Josh Hawley led the charge on that. There's no Republicans that are going to vote for this bill, though, so don't expect any Republican support at this point. But Senator Bernie Sanders is still fighting for this. He's fighting for these Medicare vouchers. He's fighting to make the stimulus package as large as possible. The larger the package is, the more money or the more things can be added in there. But we have Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema fighting to make the package as small as possible, even though the package is fully paid for and not going to add any money to the debt. So money's coming in by wealthy corporations, and by raising the tax rate just a little bit on them, because again, the tax rate used to be 35% back in 2017, when former President Donald Trump lowered it from 35%, or yeah, it was 35%. He lowered it all the way down to 21%. They want to raise it just up to 25 or 26.5% right now. But now they're saying they might not raise it even at all, and they might do that in the next stimulus package. And they want to raise taxes on wealthy individuals making over $400,000, but we'll have to see what even makes it into this package. They might do that for the next package around. So things are literally changing here by the day, and don't be surprised if they don't add in some things here at the last moment. Just historically, that's what they did with the second stimulus check package and the third stimulus check package. So I'll keep you up to date here. Make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget to hit the like button for us as well. You can share this video down below. There's a share button down below that you can share this button with, or share this video with your friends and family so that they know what is going on with this next stimulus package and with our country. You can click here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video is how there's big Social Security raises coming out in the future. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.